Hey guys, so this is for Bio 109, a review, or an overview I should say, of Chapter 8 from your textbook, which is the Tutora Visualizing Anatomy and Physiology book. So we're ending up this unit with Chapter 8. This is Unit 2, and this is all about the special senses. So it's kind of like lumped together and like grouped in each special sense and the special organ that goes with each sense. So it starts off with just an overview of all the different types of sensations and what we call the general sense, which is our sense of touch, and all of the different types of touches, the deep touch, the pressure, vibration, etc., and all of the receptors that will interpret and kind of be activated with those different stimuli. So that is all on like 228 and 229. You should be familiar with all of those different receptors that are there in the skin, figure 8.2, and what they do. You should be familiar with the term referred pain, understand what that means. And then we get into some of the special senses. The first one is olfaction. And olfaction uses chemoreceptors. There you see on page 233 kind of the breakdown of the pathway. You should be familiar with the pathway of how the chemoreceptors are activated in the nose and the nasal cavity, and then how that signal is transduced up into the brain and interpreted. And then gustation is very, very similar, using chemoreceptors as well, and you see the different types of papillae on the tongue and how they're related to different functions of the tongue. The tongue isn't just there for taste. There's some other things that it's going to do, and that's described for you in those pages. Then we get into vision, which is more complicated. And obviously we have all of these accessories that go along with our eyes. It's not just a singular organ like the tongue. There's lots of parts to our eyes to be familiar with, including the lacrimal apparatus, which is there on page 235. Then you get into the actual cross-section of the eye on 236 and how the pupil dilates and constricts. That's all controlled through the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic is going to dilate and make them bigger, right? Fight or flight, you're scared, you want to, kind of take in your surroundings, and then with parasympathetic, rest and digest, your pupils are going to get smaller. So, and then you see the whole kind of pathway through light, that pathway that light travels through the eye on page 237. Very important, the anatomy of the back of the eye, the retina, very important as well, how that light is received and, again, perceived back into the brain. So that's an important concept there. Lots of kind of anatomy. It's really just memorization. This is this, that is that, this is where this is and what it does. Obviously in a test or quiz in this course, I'm not going to test you on a diagram, but I may ask you questions about the functions of different things. So that's where that comes into play. Then you get abnormal light focusing on page 238, and then how the rods and cones are stimulated to perceive light on page 239. Another like pathway to note, perhaps making a flow chart or a diagram would be helpful for that. And then you have the whole visual pathway diagrammed out for you on page 240. Again, I would do a flow chart of this, or make each step on a note card and then see if you can mix up and rearrange the note card, summarize the picture in your own words, or redraw that picture. Really good ways of understanding that. Then we get to the ear, which the ear has actually two senses within it. You have your vestibular sense, which is your balance, and then you also have your hearing. So that whole anatomy is there on 241, and then you get into the inner anatomy on 242, 243. Kind of the mechanism for hearing is diagrammed out. Again, I suggest another flow chart or note card sequencing for that. You can understand, if you look at 244 and 245, how those otoliths and how that that structure really helps to interpret, angular momentum. Are you moving? Just imagine being in a car with your eyes closed. you still know you're moving, even if your eyes are closed. And that's that whole sense that's going on in your ear. You don't even realize that it's happening. So that's pretty much this entire chapter. It's a lot of anatomy. It's not a whole lot of physiology. This is probably one of the easier chapters of this unit. And next week is your exam, so I suggest getting this chapter done as early as you can so that you can focus on reviewing and preparing for your exam next week, so that you can take it earlier in the week as opposed to later in the week, because you still have a chapter to do next week too. So anyways, let me know if you guys have questions. Keep up the hard work, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.